My name's Robert Holliday. I am here to make a video to state that I have verified the work of Dr. Anna Mahalkia. There are no more purebloods in the United States. Everyone here has tainted blood. I have examined the blood of 11 individuals from the Salt Lake City area, and all of them had severely diseased blood. All of them had Rolo formations. In all of them, the blood was coagulated and stuck together as if it was magnetic. There were no free-floating blood cells, individual red blood cells, in any of the samples that I looked at. And these are from perfectly healthy 6-year-old boys, 7-year-old boys. I had some teenagers, some people in their 20s, 30s, one in their 40s, one in their 70s. David Nixon has also done a lot of work comparable to Dr. Anna Mahalkia. Both of them have Substack pages. To find them, you go to substack.com and type in David Nixon and Mahalkia, M-I-H-A-L-C-E-A. If you type that in, you'll be able to find their Substack pages. Dr. Mahalkia, on her June 19th post, she lamented the fact that there were no more purebloods in the United States, that every single sample of blood she looked at looked as if the person had had the potion injected into their deltoid muscle. We know when that came out, a lot of them had horrid looking blood. Well, our blood looks like that too now. Their opinions are it's not necessarily from shedding. Their opinions are that this nano garbage has been sprayed over us and over the entire planet for years, decades probably, and it's accumulated now in all of us. It's been sprayed all over the place. Cows eat the grass. Cows have it in. We eat the cows. It's in us now. It's in the pharmaceuticals. It's been found in rainwater samples. This microtech. I'm not going to use the word NaNO. I'm going to call it microtech in this video. So basically what I'm seeing when I'm observing the blood is this is how regular blood's supposed to look. There's distance between each cells, each of the red blood cells, so they can easily donate their oxygen wherever it is they need to take it, or nutrients. Okay, but when I look at the blood, they're all stuck together as if they're magnetic, okay? And they're in the Rolo formation, stacked pennies like this. How do they deliver their nutrients like this, okay? It's very hard. Not only that, but some capillaries are only big enough for one red blood cell to go through. When you introduce, a stack of them, you have clogged capillaries, basically aging and fast forward. Okay, so everybody has to look at their own blood. I mean, you can go to the doctor, they'll charge you $100 for a visit, maybe a few hundred for looking at your blood. But the thing is, I mean, my microscope package was $800, but the microscope itself is sold currently for $400, and this does the trick. I look at it at 200x magnification, and it's more than adequate. You could probably go under that and maybe get a decent microscope for $300. But again, my whole package was $800 because of all the add-ons I had to the microscope and the dye and everything. All you're going to need is a microscope and the slides, okay? The glass slides and the glass cover slips, all right? So this is the glass slide that goes on the microscope, and then this is the cover slip that goes on top of the glass slide. So you'll need to go to Walmart and buy some diabetic lancets. Let's see. One of these. And of course the lancing device. Both of them together is probably about $8. Then you load it up in there. You pull the tip off it and you have a pin, a spring action pin basically. So then you take it and you prick yourself Right, and you squeeze it and some blood comes out. This is just a little bit. That was not a very good prick there. Okay, but then I'm going to take my slide and just dab it right on the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to take the cover slip and I'm just going to set it right on top of it. Okay, that's my sample. That's adequate. If you just do that, you can tell if you've had Rolo formations. You can tell if the red blood cells are all stuck together as if they're magnetic. This works. It's not the way people normally do it. Normally, they're just trying to look at the individual cells, the organelles, the nucleus, and so what they do is they take the blood sample and they mix it with EDTA or something that would cause it to not coagulate, and then they'll stick it on the slide and they'll spread it across the slide. But that's because they're looking at the cells themselves. You're not. You're looking at the relation of the cells to each other. Are they forming Rolo formations? Are they sticking to each other? Blood is not supposed to act like that. They're supposed to be separate. You're supposed to be able to see the individual blood cells floating around. And when I looked at the samples from the 11 perfectly healthy people from the Salt Lake City area, none of them I couldn't see a single floating red blood cell in any of them. Every single red blood cell was touching another blood cell. Okay, and when I did this exact same procedure with the exact same equipment a year ago, mid-2022, I had perfectly normal blood. Most of the red blood cells were not touching other cells. There were no Rolo formations. Okay, in my blood and my kid's blood that I observed, so something is really seriously going wrong. When people started injecting a potion into their deltoid muscle, they began having these problems with horrid clotting, Rolo formations, and now we all have it. Okay, stop from shedding. I have a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old kid. The 6-year-old has stayed home. The 7-year-old went to school. The 7-year-old has better looking blood than the 6-year-old, even though the 7-year-old has had 10 times as much shedding on him. But he doesn't eat, the younger one eats more meat. The older one that went to school doesn't eat as much meat. And so even though he's had shedding done on him as extensively, he has actually blood that looks a little bit better than his little brother. So it's not shedding. This is not dependent on shedding. This is, it's dependent to some extent on vitamin D deficiency. The worst sample of the 11 was my wife, who doesn't like to go out in the sun, doesn't like to take vitamin D pills. I've noticed that I've begun exhibiting symptoms of vitamin C and vitamin D deficiency, which again was prevalent in those that took the potion in the deltoid muscle. So this is just horrific. What's happening? This is genocide. Our blood is clotting basically at the same rate as theirs, clogging up our capillaries, etc. So this is something that you really need to check. You can go to a doctor; he'll charge you $100 for the visit and a few hundred to look at your blood. Okay, $300-400. But it's a better way to spend your money if you buy your own microscope. Okay, my microscope, the whole package was pretty elaborate. It was $800, but just the microscope itself that I used for this was in the $400 range. So you'll need to buy, a microscope, the slides, the cover slips, the diabetic lancets, the lancing device, and just look at your own blood. If you see any Rolo formations, you're screwed, just like all of us are. But this is something that's a serious emergency. It's being suppressed. Catherine Austin Fitz and others in the alternative sphere have come forward and said they were offered bribes to join the dark side, and probably most of them have. And a lot of these guys are never going to allow this information out because We all knew that when crunch time came, they would withhold the important information from us, and it appears as if this is crunch time. This is the important information that they're withholding from us. We are being killed at the same rate now as those who took the poison in the deltoid muscle. So go ahead, look at David Nixon's Substack and Dr. Mihalkia's, Mihalcea. Now David Nixon had some important research. Again, his opinion is the same as Dr. Mihalkia's, that they've been spraying this all over the place. It's all over the grass. The cows eat it. We eat the cows, and we have this microtech inside us. And I have actually found one specimen. One came out of one of my blood samples. It was a blue ribbon. Mihalkia has a lot of pictures of it. It was a blue ribbon with a wire on it and a microchip. So they're doing this transhumanism on us, and it's in full scale. They've turned it on. We have the same vitamin deficiencies as those who had the poison in the deltoid muscle, namely vitamin C and vitamin D. Now cayenne pepper, I'm seeing a lot of success with it, and soon I'll be able to see, well, I don't have my microscope with me right now as I'm on vacation, but as soon as I get back, I'll be able to see if cayenne pepper can really do the trick, because it's one of the best anticoagulants. Because it's natural, and it's extremely difficult to overdose with it, in contrast to the drugs. So Dr. David Nixon has done some important research with colloidal gold. He's found that when you get colloidal gold close to the nano particles, these what I call microtech, they disintegrate basically, almost like an antimatter-matter reaction. And I think, given the folklore associated with monatomic gold, I think it could be due to the presence of small amounts of monatomic gold in the colloidal gold solution. In colloidal silver solutions, typically 1 to 3% is monatomic. Colloidal gold is usually not made with electrolysis, so it's a different manufacturing process. But again, I think an avenue I'm going to pursue is exposing the nanotech to monatomic gold, or sorry, the microtech to monatomic gold. If he can get it to disintegrate by putting the gold really up close to it, I think with a large amount of monatomic gold, in theory, you should be able to disintegrate it, being a few feet away from it. So in theory, you could wipe your whole body clean of it. So again, that's an avenue I'm going to pursue. As a disclaimer, I am not a physician. You should consult a physician before doing anything relating to this video. This video could be taken as fiction, but I take it very seriously.